Hi, my name is Grace Baroni, and welcome back to Conversations with the ERC5. I am delighted to have with us today Maura Lessard from Nurse Advocates. Maura, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I'm so delighted that you are here. It's always great to reconnect with friends and to share the amazing work that you do. So tell us a little bit about your background and then about your business.
Okay, so I'm a nurse, a registered nurse for almost 30 years.
Wow.
And I'm board certified in case management, an advanced aging life care professional, and also a board certified dementia practitioner.
So perfect background and segue into your business, right?
Yeah.
Nurse Advocate.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, and it's such an important thing that you do. It was a pleasure working with you in senior living, and you were so helpful with families. It made all the difference in the world. Would you like to share with the audience just a little bit about some of the things that you do offer and that you can provide?
Sure, absolutely. So anytime an individual or a family member finds that they're having challenges within the healthcare system, and it can be a variety of things. Often it's communication. Often it's a knowledge deficit. So you and I may take for granted that we know about the healthcare system and how it functions, but the general person does not. And so every situation is different. It can be a very acute situation where somebody's in the hospital and they need immediate attention, somebody to help with advocacy. It can be long-term planning for families. Somebody comes and has a new diagnosis. A lot of the middle-aged folks that self-refer may be having surgery and need some checks and balances. But the services, so because they vary so much, I find that the enhancing of communication, the review of medical records and medications during transitions of care. So let's say somebody's in the hospital and they're going to rehab and then home, things get missed.
Yes.
So often I'm picking up errors, I'm picking up situations that haven't been dealt with that need to be, and they need to be addressed, even though it's been recommended maybe more than one time and nobody has done anything since. So it really does vary.
Well, and healthcare has so many challenges right now. And of course, they too are experiencing staffing shortages, just as everyone else is. And sometimes you may go in and you talk to the doctor. I know with my husband, recently, he's going to have surgery on his ankle and so forth in the fall. But you go in and you discuss what everything's going to be. And it's, the two of us, and we both pick up different things. And then, the doctor says, oh, well, someone will call you to set up an appointment for. And you go away. And then again, just because, not that I have a whole lot of background in it, but coming from senior living, it's like, oh, I go home and I jot everything down so that when that date, the 2 weeks comes along, if I haven't gotten the call, it's like, we need to call them back. And my husband's like, well, they said they'd call, so you don't need to really call them back. And it's like, no, we all do that. It's not, it's just, we're overstressed. We've got a lot on our plates, and we're seeing a lot of patients. So it's easy to miss a callback. And having an advocate who can be there with you, because I thought about that. I'm like, yes, we all need advocates.
Anytime.
And, I think senior living, we need advocates, absolutely. But then going through this with Joe, it's like, you know what? We could use somebody to just be with you. I got to get to work, and you don't always pay attention to the little details. And we could use an advocate to just kind of navigate things for us, right?
The time and the capacity alone, and folks have family out of town, they work full time. So sometimes it's a benefit to the families because time.
Yeah.
time, frustration. If they're able to do that, or they're out of town and they need somebody to have eyes on. And I tell the offices, the providers, the facilities, if I'm not making your job easier, then something's off kilter, because my role should be helping them. And I probably wouldn't wait 2 weeks to get that call. I'd use other tools.
Right.
Because you're then playing phone tag. And all of that is just eating up time for both the providers as well as the families. So using different means and modes of communication, like a patient portal. But you have to start with knowing how to set up the patient portal and feel comfortable with it.
Yes, and we were just talking about that. Not something I like to do.
Yeah.
But yes, patient portals are, as you pointed out, so beneficial. It's just learning how to navigate it. And there's so many new tools.
Right. Right. And a lot of my clients don't like to navigate it. So I set it up and monitor it for them. And it may be somebody that's full-time that I'm working with diligently every week, and what I call boots on the ground. So I'm visiting them at the facilities or at home. Other times it's somebody who's long-term and they call me when they need me. But I still may be the one keeping an eye on their portal to be sure that the labs are getting looked at and any procedures and such.
All of those little things that we take for granted.
Right.
You're there to make sure we're on top of it. You said something that I would like to just circle back, because I thought it was very important. One, you always made my job so much easier. You really did, because you were there and you helped prepare the resident and the family as well for that first move-in day.
Right.
We had a lovely lady that we worked with together.
Yeah.
And, it was a smooth transition for her. And then it was a smooth transition when her family that was out of town came to visit.
Right. Right.
And that was all thanks to the work that you do. So as you said, when someone isn't able to be there,
right,
you are that communicator that keeps the patient informed of what's going on and with the doctor, but you're also the communicator for the family.
Right. And it could be the attorney, and it could be the financial manager. It's really looking at the whole picture. It's very much a partnership. So I'm partnering with that client and that family, and I'm partnering with the facilities and the providers. And it needs to be a partnership, so I can assist and help with all the coordination and the management, but it's keeping that person, that client, as independent as possible.
Yes.
To be sure that they're being respected and that their wishes are being met, and really creating that partnership with everybody who's involved.
Which is so key.
Yeah.
It's key to the good health and the success of the loved one, of the patient, the person we're all working on behalf of.
Right. Yeah.
When everything is getting checked off.
Right. Right.
And when it's not, you just go, Maura, help.
Right.
What do I do now?
Yeah.
Right. Or maybe my rehab isn't going so well.
Yeah.
Maura, what are my next steps?
Right.
Right.
Right. And hopefully being proactive. So somebody's leaving the hospital and going to rehab. So there's certain steps to take. There's certain tricks of the trade that can be set up so that it's an easy transition. And I shouldn't say easy, because healthcare is challenging no matter what, but it can be easier and the communication can be enhanced.
Well, to what you just said, again, that was very helpful. We would have a resident that maybe took a fall and now was going to the hospital, and then there was rehab involved or something like that, right? And then after, there were next steps, and you were there to make sure those next steps were checked off and that everything was going smoothly. And maybe we all forgot to pack her favorite blanket. It just made her feel great. You were there. If we missed it, you were on top of it. And those may be little things, but they mean the world. And they make a world of difference in the whole experience and what is going on.
Yeah. And one of the big things, as I'll mention, is medication reconciliation. The number of errors that I pick up is huge. So each time somebody sees a provider, each time somebody goes from one facility to the next, you have to double check and make sure the medications are as they were initially prescribed, maybe when that person was at home. The physicians, the nurse practitioners, the providers at the various facilities, at the various stages, they work solo. Mm-hmm. So they make changes without people being aware, including the client. So it's really important that somebody is overseeing those pieces.
And that someone is you, and you do it so beautifully.
Thank you.
And we're grateful for that. So if our audience is at home and maybe they are thinking, you know what, I could use a Maura in my life to help me navigate what's going on, if it's, a diagnosis of some kind, or if it's helping a loved one
Right.
Through the next stages. How do they get in touch with you?
My website, nurseadvocatesllc.com. I also won't mind if you put my phone number down, and people feel free to call. An initial few-minute consultation will help to know whether there's just some resources that I can provide or if there's an opportunity there to partner together.
Sounds wonderful. Thank you so much, Maura, for making time
Thank
for
you.
us today. It was a pleasure reconnecting with you.
You too. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you. And thank you for joining us for today's ERC5 Connections. If you'd like to be a guest here with us at Stonegate Studios, just like Maura, please go to our website, erc5.com, and you can sign up there. Thank you again for joining us.